to the table. I was just looking through some replays, trying to find some like nice strategies by players and like high scores, and I found this one. I've watched it once and I have absolutely, like, I know what happens, but I have no clue how it happens. So I thought this would be a good idea for an analysis video. So I checked these players briefly. I think two of them at the top are like very skilled Terra Mystica players, and some like other games, like they're very skilled. And this guy I think also plays some Terra Mystica. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Let's talk about what we have here. So we have here a lot of TPs early. Like this usually is quite good with sorry, and this one is quite good with houses, because you naturally usually dig for houses. It's not as good as houses, but it's pretty good. This one, the town scoring for round 4 is usually achievable by most factions, so like you can get 2 towns, so this is like high scoring, especially with this economy boost here. And last one, you just like usually place some houses with sailing. So I think this is like a relatively high scoring game, but we are missing scoring for sailing, which is usually the best scoring. And but we have all the others. We also don't have an early spade. So two very key bonus tiles missing, but otherwise we've got everything, right? So if I was playing here, I would probably pick something safe, like fairies, like sun worshippers, something like that. Maybe fire sprites, and I think that's what Rind here decides to do. So second pick, I would imagine again some like we have red and yellow actually don't work that well together here. Like this is usually a conflict, so maybe yellow is not that advised. Red can usually just play here, and yeah, you know, like play here. Like usually they're very interested in this sailing early because they have like the best sailing. It doesn't go that well with the first tile. They would prefer to have houses instead of digs. So we'll see what happens. But sun worshippers, yeah, with fire sprites, they lose a little bit of their, like they're still very good, but they're just like usually competing a little bit for. But I think it's still fine. I would still probably go sun worshippers here. Fairies also like have some conflicts with red, but yeah, red is generally like everywhere, so it's like getting in a way on this map. So a lot of possibilities, I think. But he chose Inventors, which I think 3-player is probably their weakest player count, especially with this. Oh, also golems were possible by red here. Like golems kind of like this track. They might have trouble getting to cities, but otherwise, like they really like this track quite a lot. So Inventors, I think it's like an ambitious pick, a very ambitious pick, I would say. The problem with Inventors, let's see if I can click here to see that. Yeah, I can. So Inventors have this awesome palace, right? Like it sounds awesome on paper. Like you just place a trading post, right? For 6 gold. So potentially you are getting 2 digs, that's 12 gold, 1 house, that's 4 gold. You're not actually placing a house, but you know, normally to place a house you would need to use that. And upgrade to trading post, which can be as much as 10 gold. So in like ideal scenario, you are gaining, let's say, 26 gold for 6 mana, which is like an absolute steal, right? And yeah, it's just insane, right? If we are talking like the worst case scenario, so we are getting let's say a dig, a house, and a cheap trading post, so that's 17. So that's still triple the amount, and you can do it multiple times in a turn, right? And they have some generations to enable that. Like let's say with one you are making a city, let's say you're 8 mana, you're doing that, so you're left with you need 10 more mana, right? So you're getting 8 from the city, so you just need like 2 mana from your neighbors or from your passive or something like that. So it's possible to play 2 spells in one turn like this. But in reality, it never happens. Like, as you can see, their income for mana is very low. Like they're like this is just pathetic, right? Like these are just terrible. So those would be usually like late game placements. Here, like the income is just terrible. They start with 14 gold instead of 15 because this is 2 instead of 3, and like there is no way to get a good income with them. Like the best you can do is like place, I guess, like let's cut off here probably and just cut off here, so we are getting like 15, right? Am I cutting this right? 10, 15, right? We are like, this is 15, so that's like leprechauns can 15 and 2 mana, so leprechauns can get almost the same by just placing 4 houses, right? And they're the same color, and usually their passive is more reliable because like you control it, not your opponents, and like you get it at the times that you want. So this all sounds like quite awful, right? Like that's I think inventors are in a tricky place. Like they can be used, but they require a specific setup. But there is one thing that we know from Terra Mystica that it's excellent. This is Earth 1 from Terra Mystica. So this is like, one of the best ways to score points. And, if you just score 7, like if you place 7 houses, which is not maybe that tough of an ask, you just get 14 points, right? So that's why they have all this trouble, just because like this Earth 1 is potentially so powerful. So usually the strategies that I've seen with them will dance around this one. Worth noting is that these do not combo. Like if you place this one, you do not get 2 points from this, which I think is a bit of a shame, but it also maybe helps in some instances, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to place trading post if you have no houses, right? With the current way that the rules work and the implementation works, you can do that. But enough about inventors. Let's see the third pick. So if we look at the color wheel, we have one here and here. I don't think yellow makes any more sense because you will just get into a sandwich. Inventors usually want to be up in your face because with this, they don't usually care about terrain, right? Like they can place N everywhere here. So they want to get a lot of mana for this. Like the strategies involving this, inventors are like, friendly, hugging people. Like they want to be close, right? But of course, like this is not something that you will build often, so your mileage might vary. But from what's left, so let's say that we cross yellow, that the obvious pick kinda is the fairies, or something that you can a lot of the times naturally go for, because just fairies is like a beginner friendly strong faction that's also good the more you play it and the more you discover it. Sea Dogs, Water Sprites. I think Water Sprites can be a bit tricky with the placements. Like I can actually think that they can sound kind of work in this setup because there is everything that they want, and being Water Sprites, they hate sailing because of course they hate sailing. So this track is actually pretty good for them. So I think they shouldn't be discouraged here, but I don't think they are a very popular faction right now. And Sea Dogs, yeah, you can also play them, but this is not like their favorite track, but it works. Like they're fine here, I think so. And even with all of that, Sun Worshippers in a sandwich are not that bad. And Sandcats, even when they're sandwiched with these 2 rounds and this scoring tile, I think they can actually be placed here, and they can make this work. So I think this is open. I would probably stay away from druids here, but yeah, this is all all to play for. but he chooses fairies, so that's I think a pretty natural and safe choice. I kind of think it's good. So starting placement. So red is usually just starting here, here, or here. With shipping, that's usually what you see. And to no surprise, this is here. So now inventors are placing. They kind of want to be in the face. I would say like this is one of the picks that you can do. You can also like try to predict where others would be. I imagine fairies would be here, so placing like here and inviting potentially some of them here can be interesting. But maybe that's something that you leave for the other pick. Probably, I would say. There are also this space here, like he would be placing here from sailing probably, or here. So you can go like here, here, or here for the first pick. I think he chooses this one, which I think is perfectly fine. But maybe I would prefer to be here, or even both. Then you have maybe troubles connecting, but with the factions here, I think you should have like a safe connection here. So I'm not loving this, but I'm liking this, let's say. It's not bad, but it's not potentially not the best, I think. But it's so hard, like with the players, and like the game's still early, you still don't know what people will do. So this kind of makes sense to me. Like he's afraid of some, so he needs some neighbors, I'd say. That's perfectly fine. This is maybe a little bit more weird to me. I would imagine like here would be kind of better, maybe, like inviting, but at the same time maybe not. Like if you are planning like a city here and a city here, then yeah, it makes sense. Like, but this one can be a bit problematic, I think. So like if you're placing here, I would imagine you are using a little bit of resources here, but they can just also sail away to some like location here or maybe here, so it's fine. So we are placing here, we are placing here. I would prefer us to place here, just like in the case that we are getting the mana from this one. Maybe also here, like this could also work better, I think. But like we'll see what happens, and I think he has some kind of plan. And of course, you can see that we are following Inventors, right? So that's like that's what makes this game, right? Like the Inventors, I think, here work at least kinda in a weird way, and I just like to show it. So choosing bonus cards for green, I will go with the 3/3 probably. That's just like the safest choice, I think, and that's what he does. So we are left with 6 or this one, or we can actually think about this one in a lot of like instances, because we expect to get a lot of leech. But I think he does something smart here. He understands that fire sprites want this tile, so right. So if he snatches this tile with the way they are set up, he will like the fire sprites will be forced to play sailing, and the money action will be left to inventors. So I think this is pretty smart, and he actually steals this. This is not like amazing, but yeah, nice move, nice move. Like it's still fine for fire sprites. Like if this is like reversed, they get this one, they get a bit more mana, so their economy is a little bit hurt short term, like but it's still fine. For us, we are getting like if we are using the sailing, then yeah, we are profiting from this, so nice move. This is exactly what happens, and the green is usually just double spading here. That's 1 spade, and that's 2 spades. That's just expected. And that's why we are choosing 3/3, and that's why fairies are also really good with the base income of power. So now it's a bit tricky, right? Like we want to use our sailing, but like we are here. So he just travels to this one, which I think is reasonable. That's like with this being placed here, we are getting a neighbor here. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. We are getting like a lot of stuff that we can place here, right? And he also traveled here, which was also expected. So I think that, like this one, like potentially should be here, but I guess he wanted this one. But if the plan was here, we are actually still having like enough places to place some tiles, right? Worth noting is that we are very short from like gaining this power action also, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so he is worried about spaces in the middle, and I think rightly so. And he places here. We already got 2 leech out of this, which is pretty good, on top of our other 2 leech from our passive. So maybe this is all working even better, right? Like maybe I'm actually talking nonsense here. Maybe this was better because it's clearly working. Like look at how much mana we are getting. So yeah, he places here. I think this is just like trying to use. We are still placing 2 houses at least, right? So he's going here. That makes sense a little bit. I think green going to, yeah, he will have 2 trading posts, which are amazing. Like those are the best trading posts, and the first 2 are the best for fairies. So that absolutely makes sense. Red was passing here. Makes sense also. Like he wants mana because his mana is better. Nothing else was offering him any mana, so yeah, this makes sense. And here we actually dig when I think we could actually go here and here. I guess he was afraid of letting this tile go, but I think we can actually make a city here if we need to, or like even like here and just connect for the future. So I think that might be a bit premature. Like if we are doing this, we might as well, I think, do kind of this, or like this. Yeah, but I would actually, I think, prefer either just placing this and saving the mana for some spells, or just just going like. Oh, maybe I didn't prefer that. I think still I would probably just do this and save the mana. I think that's the easiest one, because here we are also gifting the mana to the fire sprites, so that's a bit awkward, I think. So I'm still not loving this one, because like we went here and we could just be like here and here, which would have been, I think, just plain better for us. Like we can even then make a town here, but it's like, small inaccuracies. Like you can never predict this. Like in some lines, I guess he is just never placing here, or some stuff. We go on the money track, which I thought was interesting. I thought we were trying to go cash in on how much we placed, but I guess it just makes sense. We are third, and let's see what we can make of it. So first we get, let's look at the mana. Like we have no mana, only the fire sprites have mana, so I guess they're just gaining this one. But first are fairies, of course, and they will just be placing here additional mana. So this house is actually giving us more and more. And it would be curious to see, okay, another mana, I guess. A little bit. Okay, I guess like he was afraid here. But if he was afraid here, that he should probably place here. Okay, so in anticipation of this getting bumped, we are placing a house. That makes sense because we have 18 gold. I think passing on here made a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. Okay, we are upgrading here. I thought this might be an upgrade here as well, but you cannot have everything. But with this being placed, which I thought was needed, right? Like he needs to secure some, and he wants to take away from fairies some of those. Look how much like how closer we are to getting like we're getting a lot of income. Like this is a high income game, and because you know people are just placing a lot of stuff, we are getting a lot of mana. Yeah, that was expected. I guess he's just going to the houses now. No, he's actually going to the big building, to the palace. And now, yeah, now he's placing more. Like we are still gaining mana, right? Like the passive, even though it's free player and it's like usually not that explosive, you are still gaining a lot. Here we are just like building one city. I think when this is in, I usually think to myself that like you need to have two cities here. You probably only need one at least, but yeah, this does not look like two cities from us so far. First two are quite good, but the next one is like meh, I would say. But we are going on it, and we will be building them, I guess. We have the mana to do that. And we are actually gaining quite a bit of mana, and he is placing quite a bit as well, right? He places two, and he goes on houses, which is not ideal, but I guess he thought that he needs something, right? Like he will place two more, right? So he will be left with four, but he can place more houses as well. Like you can see the income, right? Like we have the worst income right now out of everyone. Like we placed the most houses, 8-1, sorry, 8-1, round one, and we are still having the worst income, right? Even though like we invested everything in income. That's just like inventors for you, I guess. So now, yeah, fairies are just getting some more income. And now we are going, so we are bumping the sailing just to use the mana, I guess. That's not a bad idea, actually. And now we will be, yeah, I thought this was, again, maybe a missed opportunity to get some mana, but, you know, it is how it is. Like, he should actually upgrade here, probably, so. And here, I think we are placing this one, so... but it doesn't, like, the ordering doesn't matter, to be honest. So now, yeah, he's placing here, and I guess he's making the city here instead of here. I don't know. Yeah, there are possibilities here, or maybe even here, right? There is some trouble with the connection for red, right? Like whenever red is here and here, like it needs this one, or it needs this spot to connect. It doesn't look bad right now, but you always have to be careful. So where are we? Green is making some conversions. So now it's our turn again, and I think we are just upgrade. We need to place because we need to upgrade later, right? Yeah. So like we need that discount, and like these spots are like the synergy with red and black here is just amazing, right? Like we get exactly what we want, right? Yeah, this upgrade, yeah, it's the only one that makes sense because, like, I guess you can place here first, but the green doesn't have sailing, so it actually can't. Yeah, we are upgrading and we are using the mana. Essentially, like, we are using some of the power as half gold, because you need to bump to the last one, so that's what we get. But we actually, like, so far we got quite a bit from passive. Let's see. 9, so that's 7 from red, just from the passive, and 3, so 10 mana so far. Round 3, we already got 10 mana from the passive, which is, I guess, quite good. Now, Fire Sprites are passing, and I thought that was a bit weird as well, because I thought they would really want to be on the style and outlast us, but it just didn't materialize, so they're going here. And that's one good thing about, you know, these long being last and these long turns. Like if you get this one by one, like someone will jump here, right? And if you will be like good enough to get on this tile, to hold this tile, you are removing a lot of points from other players, like denying them the opportunity to score. Now is us again, so we need to pass. The green outlasted us actually, and usually the outlasting is because of this. This actually kind of puts you on the, like it's like kind of like a waiting turn, right? So it puts you on the last queue and makes you outlast a lot. So passing first is usually also a good idea for outlasting some tiles. And he, like, the green couldn't pass on this tile because he was on this tile. So now we are passing. I thought we were passing here, but I'm not sure, honestly. Yeah, that makes sense. And now he goes back, right? Like that's obvious. So before the last round, let's just like quickly recap what we have, right? Like, sorry, penultimate round. So the scores are very close, right? Like he's just a little bit behind, but the economy is it's not close. The green has troubles because he doesn't have all his free houses. If we take a look, like he doesn't have these houses out, so that's why he's not dominating economy. Red is. But he's doing better on points, right? Like we are doing quite good on points because like we did some work here, right? And you know, we also went on a good tile once. So we are doing fairly decent on points. Our economy is still not great, but I'm very afraid of our city making, because we are just going to make one city, if any. And I think they are ready for 2 cities each. Like for red, it might be, like I would imagine this is not a problem to make a city here and here. So I think we are getting, you know, a bit further back. Red is without the tile, but I'm kind of afraid that we might be without a tile for the last round, or at least not like a super good one. So like here, I think I would prefer to be fairies here. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So some end round conversions. Like we don't even have a spell here. That's quite worrying. And they have full mana. So yeah, we are upgrading to Earth 1. And like we don't have enough to even make a city, which I thought was tragic. Like this is the end. Like this looks promising. Like we got some mana, we got some placements, we got some, like, you know, like we got on the board. Like this is not threatened, so we will connect. We are making 2 cities. Like I thought this was like a decent Inventors game, but it's like, what? Like there is nothing for us left, right? And like we don't even want to place houses because the houses are next round. So like placing house right now, in, if this 2 mana is not like huge for us, then it's just a waste, right? But yeah. So green is making a city, like with this one. Makes a lot of sense, because I think, you know, other like the red might be interested in that double spade. Like this looked perfect for him here. Or like, I don't know, maybe even being mean to us here. But I guess he's more interested in placing both of these, which he can actually get out, which is quite impressive. Like he can get this for 2, this for 3, and he got this for 3, right? So he used 11 mana to cast 3 spells with 8 mana. That's his passive coming in. Fire Sprites love bridges. So yeah, he's getting the money here. It cost him quite a bit. No, it cost him just 4 here. I was looking at the wrong one. So yeah, so he's making a city for sure now. So yeah, as expected, this is the first one, and he's gaining some more mana in case he needs to like shovel or something like that. And now we must take action. I think we just go here, which is not ideal again, but I think that I remember that the move was there. So we are not making any single city in the round of cities, right? So that's like tragic. Like as you can see, the scores, they're already like escaping us a little bit, right? Green is also on a great passing tile, right? So yeah, we'll see. There is some downside. Like he's placing some cities, some houses that would be better in the next round, but you know, it's still like it's economy. It's still better to place them. Yeah, and I think did we do something? No, it's just our turn now, and we have to pass. We have nothing, right? Or did we just place a house somewhere? No. What did we do? Oh, sorry, we advanced on the sailing because we could afford that. That was okay, right? Like, doesn't really matter. And now we have to pass, and I think we're passing for big building. That's the only point tile that makes sense. And now I think fairies are upgrading here. Also makes a lot of sense. He's getting city. Which one did he get? He got the sailing one, which I thought was interesting. I thought this is better, possibly, but yeah. You know, some people prefer it like that. So he's upgrading here. He's making them, and I think he's actually attacking this side here. Like, so he's maybe even try to make a city here for the last round of the game. But again, like point wise, like look, like we are nowhere here, right? Like we are 36. Like this looks horrible. I know we are like we have 2 cities coming, so we'll catch up a little bit, right? Like let's say 9 and 7, so that's 16, so that's like 52. But still, like fairies are 55, and yeah, does not look amazing. But this city actually for us, it's a saving grace, kinda. Like we're getting so much leech, as you can see. Like we passed, we were 0-8. Now we got 6 mana since then. He's passing here, so that was trouble. I thought like our last chance is that the red is getting on this tile, and then the green has no tiles, because I thought that green like just has an advantage, right? But for some reason didn't. Okay, so now like we are getting too much leech, right? But yeah, it happens. And he's passing on the good tile, right? So yeah, like if we count the points for cities, then it's fine, but yeah, it's like making this will not be maybe as easy. Like it's not hard, but it's not like super easy. So we got this one, which yeah, we needed that. And we are making a city with sailing, which I also thought was a bit odd. And the next one I think will just make, yeah, we are getting more leech, which is nice. And like this one is not good for him, right? Like if he was on a big passing tile, maybe. But this one is not good. Like what it will give him, like 1. That's terrible, right? Like he needs it for the city other way he will not have it, but this is not a good use of his resources. Like that idea was cute, but I think the execution here was pretty poor. And like he's feeding us a little bit. I guess that's why like we are still in this game, if we even are. But yeah, you'll see. So yeah, we are making this like small city here, like with our last money, and like we are placing here, which just makes sense because we need to connect. And yeah, we are getting a 9-pointer. That all makes sense, right? Still, like we are on the worst passing tile, and I thought that the fairies can actually make these connections, but I guess because of the green-red war, right? Like the reds took some of the natural spaces for, like, he took this, which was also important for him to connect, but there is nothing to like jump to these cheap ones. And it's actually pretty expensive for fairies now to expand, right? Like to I guess what he could do is like go here, 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 and here maybe, but that's crazy expensive. Oh, actually too many tiles, so he needs 24 and he only has 22 to place all of them. So that's what's saving us in this one. He's actually trying to make a run for it here, which makes sense. We are just placing some, last ones. But as it turns out, like in the end, we prevail. We get the highest network. Area scoring, just to use the correct terminology. We get some points. We get some points from Earth 1 with this righty, It just works. And the end game score is very respectable, I think. It's just like, what can we learn from this game? Like the leech and like being in the right places is very, very important. I guess like this leached us 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 leech. So I guess without it we have no chance, right? But still, like, yeah, it got us here, and I think with just some small improvements we would have been just like far better off. Maybe we could have used this one somewhere here, or if the track was a little bit different, maybe we could have used that. So I think that the inventors, even in free player, they are not doomed. They have some uses. You just need to be very clever about how to use them. And just because they're on off race, at least right now, as the understanding of the metagame is, they will not get target as much, because why would you target someone that's not a threat? That doesn't make sense in free player. So I think they can work, and this proves that they in fact can work. I guess Green was very mad about this town here, but it kind of makes sense to like connect through here and make a city while you are at it, but it just wasn't enough. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and see you in the next one.